Hey YouTube, Flightsimguy here. I've been meaning to do some more training videos, and I figured this is as easy as it gets. Today I'm going to talk about flying in a pattern, just your basics, doing touch and goes, and for that I'm using the Papa Saratoga to TC, which is Alabeo. This is Alabeo's aircraft. It's pretty good, and I really like it. And my textures is courtesy of Rex HD Airports, and more importantly, I fixed my traffic issues. As I think I did. Air traffic, yes, look at all that traffic. I fixed my traffic issues. I figured out what the problem was. It took me several days, but I was able to fix it. Anybody interested to hear how it's done, just go ahead and let me know. Alright, so here's how we're going to do it. We're going to go ahead and get in here, run through the checklist, fire this up, taxi. And during the taxi, we'll go ahead and cut over to the quote-unquote classroom on my PowerPoint presentation. We'll talk about touch and goes, come back. I'm going to do one touch and go in the pattern here at Bolton Field in Grove City, Ohio. And then I'm going to fly to a nearby airport to show how to do a pattern entry and landing using what was taught in the touch and go lessons. So with that, let's go ahead and step into the cockpit. Love this aircraft, man. These textures are just absolutely fantastic. Alright, so I don't have a checklist with me. I'll just go ahead and make this up as I go along. Alright, first thing we need to do, I'm just going to go ahead and use the other tank since I've been flying on that tank for a while. Next, battery master. We got juice. Yep. And then avionics master. We'll go ahead and turn that on. Let's go ahead and prime the engine. Okay. And I'm not sure. Oh, this is the mags. Yeah, I gotta have those on. And we'll go ahead and turn on our strobe. And let's go ahead and set the altimeter. Let's go ahead and get weather. Oh. Yeah, I probably need to turn the radios on first, don't I? Oh man, I've done this many times. There we go. Alright. Should be saying Bolton Field. I think I'm at Bolton Field.
Kilo, Tango,
there we go.
Romeo, automated weather observation. 1936 Zulu. Wind calm. Visibility greater than 20 miles. Sky condition clear.
2997. That's all I need.
Dew point 5 Celsius. Altimeter 2.
Alright, 2997. So let's go ahead and bring it down. It's kind of dark. I can't see. 2997. Oh, it's way off. Alright, 2997, which is about that. Ish. Let's hit B. Close enough. Alright. Parking brake is on. Put the props full forward. Give it a little bit here. This is open. I think that's it. And all I need to do is crank the engine. And how do I do that? There we go. We got juice. Alright. Shift P, push back. And let's go ahead and get my frames. Whoa, 40 frames. That is pretty sweet. A lot of people were hating on Rex HD airport. I'm sorry, I love it. Really gives some contrast to the world. Alright. Winds calm. I guess that means I can take off from wherever I want. But as you can see, this airport has a tower. So I'm going to go ahead and call ground and get my departure. We want to remain in the pattern. Should give us 4.
Request taxi for touch and go. Viper, November 849er69er.
That's right.
22 and hold short of runway 4 via taxiway Charlie Alpha 4. Contact tower on 128.1 when ready.
Alright, we got runway 4. Oh, great. Oh, man. Let's try this again. There we go.
Hold short, runway 4 via taxiway Charlie Alpha 4. Viper 969er.
Now, the only thing I don't like about this plane is, see this right here? This is a trim wheel. I can't tell what my trim is. So, you know, I just have to wing it. Let's get rolling. Let's check my fuel. Whoa. Where's my fuel? Shoot, my tanks are full. Huh. Wasn't expecting that. Okay, runway 4. I'm going the wrong way. Runway 4 is at the other end. This is runway 22. And I think I have some shake on here. I may want to turn that off. Let me see if I can do that. There we go. Alright, tanks are full. That's the reason why the plane is so sluggish. I don't like flying with too much weight. It makes flying in the pattern a little bit more complicated. Your speeds are higher, but this is a damn it, I forgot to turn on FS recorder. This is a pretty straightforward single engine, so you know, even if you're weighing a little bit more, shouldn't be much of an issue. I need FS recorder for this, so let me go ahead and turn it on. Alright. Alright, so we're taxiing to runway 4, which starts down here. While we're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and brake from here and get to the classroom PowerPoint presentation. I'll see you in a few. Welcome to Flightsimguy's half-assed guide to touch and goes. Let me get my instructor hat on. Alright, so what we're going to do is talk about why you want to do touch and goes in a pattern, why you want to practice. We're going to go over the phases of flying in the pattern, and we'll also talk about some final considerations. Alright, so why do touch and goes? Well, first of all, it gives you a feel of the aircraft, how the aircraft flies and handles. I always do touch and goes when I buy new add-ons, but most importantly, it gives you a chance to practice and perfect the two most important phases of flights. That's takeoff and landings. If you're ever flying real airplanes, I live next to an airport, people are always just doing touch and goes. That's how you practice. Alright, so there are 4 phases of the touch and go. You have your upwind, which is when you take off. You have your crosswind, your downwind, base, and final. But first, before we talk about these, we need to talk about runway numbers and the HSI dial. Now, runway numbers, obviously they're used to assign a label to a runway. Duh. But runway numbers, more importantly, indicate the orientation of the runway in relation to absolute north. Or that might be magnetic north. I'm not sure which one that is. Add a 0 to runway number and you'll get the heading of the runway. So as you can see here, you have north, you got 360, 90, 180, 270. So if it's a runway 22, Add a 0 is 220. That's the heading you're going to be landing on. You want to land into the runway. It's very important to understand runway numbers if you're going to be successful in practicing touch and goes. As an illustration, if a runway is labeled 36, if you stand on the numbers and you look towards the other end of the runway, you are pointing, or you are looking north, because 360 is 300, which is north. And if a runway is labeled 9 and you stand on the numbers looking at the other end, you are looking east, because 9 is 90, which is east, and 18 is south, that's 180, and 27 is 270, which is west. You always land into the runway number. Runway numbers only go from 0 to 360. That's the range of the compass. There is no runway 37. And if there is, or if there was, only Neil Armstrong could land on it. Alright, now this thing is very important to understand when flying in the pattern. This is your horizontal situation indicator, or your HSI, and it's often just below the artificial horizon in the cockpit. There's a lot more on here than what I've called out, but what I've called out is all you need to know for flying in a pattern. This thingy right here, that's your make-believe plane. Okay? This is your course selector. This is the course select knob. Turning this turns this. This thingy right here is the heading bug, and this is the heading select knob. Turning this moves this, and the heading bug is used with the autopilot. Course selector is used with your nav1 radio. And these markers right here, these are all at 90-degree increments. Remember, the HSI, it moves in coordination with your compass. So all of this right here represents 360 degrees. So this to here is 90. From here to here is 180. From here to here is 270. From here to here back is north, or 360, or 0. These 4 notches here, and your course select line and your heading bug, they're very important. Now, the thing to remember is when you're flying touch and goes in the pattern, you want to set your course needle and your heading bug to the takeoff runway heading. That way, you'll always know the runway's orientation with respect to your airplane, because you have it right in front of you. And that's good to know, because that's how you keep the runway, lined up, so to speak, as you're flying the pattern. Alright, so here are the various phases of the pattern. Upwind, here's where you're taking off, right here. Always make sure your heading bug and course needle is aligned with the takeoff runway. You always want to give it full throttle, flaps up, and your trim should always be set for takeoff. When you take off, you want to climb out at about 1,500 to 2,000 feet per minute. And don't make any turns until you're at least 400 feet above the ground. After you're about between 400 and 600 feet, you want to go ahead and come right. In this case, I say come right 90 degrees. It's either right or left. It depends on which direction you're flying in the pattern. You want to do a 30-degree bank angle, not too steep, not too shallow. Do a coordinated turn, step on the ball, while you're climbing around 1,000 feet per minute until you're established on the crosswind. Now, once you do your turn, you want to start coming out of your turn 10 degrees before your target heading. If you don't, you will overshoot your target heading. Now, this is the crosswind here. What you want to do is reduce the throttle a bit to maintain airspeed within the white arc. The white arc is your maneuvering speed within the pattern. Maintain about 1,000 feet per minute. You want to time your crosswind. Give it about 20 to 30 seconds. You want to be somewhere between, right here should be half to 1 mile. In case your engine conks out and you need to make an emergency landing, you can always just turn around, give it some flaps, and glide back to the runway. You need to monitor your altitude. If you're approaching 1,800 to 2,000 feet above ground level, start reducing speed. Or start reducing your vertical speed. Monitor your airspeed and altitude to make another 90-degree coordinated turn to downwind. Now, with regards to the altitude, the pattern altitude for flying an average propeller aircraft is about 1,500 feet to 2,000 feet above the ground. Now, you need to do some math here. Unless you live near the ocean, your barometric altitude will be several feet above or below mean sea level. Now, I live in Columbus, Ohio. So when I set my altimeter to the barometric reading at that point, it's going to say 800 feet above sea level. This means Columbus, we're 800 feet above, the beach or the sea in the Atlantic or the Pacific coast. So all those global warming and rising sea levels, we don't have to worry about that. So my max altitude in the pattern should be around 2,300 to 2,800 feet, what my altitude gauge says. And that's very important. You don't want to be too low and you don't want to be too high. Alright, next is the downwind. By now you should be approaching or at the target pattern altitude, 1,500 feet to 2,000 feet above the ground. Adjust throttle to maintain speed within the white arc. Then look out your window, left or right, and you should be flying parallel to the runway in the opposite direction you took off. If you're absolutely parallel or lined up, you're doing good. If you're coming towards the runway a little bit, you're a little bit off. So you want to make corrections with the yoke. Downwind is the one phase of flight where you have the most time to correct your pattern flying if you've screwed up. Look at your HSI. You should be flying the opposite heading from where you took off. If the other end of the course needle, if it's not right at the top marker, you remember what I was talking about? If it's not right here, then you're a little bit off and you need to correct. Now, you need to decide when you're going to make your turn to base. Very, very simple. Keep looking over your left or your right shoulder. Once the foot of the runway is right over your shoulder, that's when you're going to make your turn. Now, before you make a turn, what you need to do is come off the power. Take it down to about 20%. Usually in the Cessna 172, you bring it back to about 1900 RPM. Raise the nose to bleed off some airspeed to make sure you slow down and that you're in the white arc. Then what you want to do is give it flaps 1. Your plane's going to balloon. Be sure to compensate. Then go ahead and make a right turn from downwind to base. Coordinated turn and keep your nose down, because at this point you should be at the top of the pattern altitude, and from here on in you're going to be descending. Okay, base, that's right here. You're going to use your throttle to maintain speed for flaps 1 in the middle of the wide arc. You should be either flying level or descending at no more than 500 feet per minute. Look out the left or right window. When the runway is at your 10 or your 2 o'clock relative to your position, reduce throttle, give it flaps 2, you're going to balloon again, then you're going to go ahead and make a 90-degree turn towards final. Keep your nose down. You want to turn as needed to intercept the line and line up with the runway. With the runway in sight, there is no excuse to over or undershoot. Now, in simulators, the damn plane gets in the way and you can't really bend your head to look around it. I guess you could if you have the track IR on, but in my case, the intersection of where the door and the windscreen comes together, that's always in the way. So I'm always over or undershooting. But you get the idea. Alright, so when you're on final, plane should be around 10 to 15 knots above stall speed. That's towards the lower end of the white arc. Keep it there. Go through your landing checklist. Flaps full. I always wait until I'm short final before I give it flaps full. And gump. Gump is gas. Make sure you got power. Undercarriage, that's your landing gear. Make sure it's down. Mixer should be full and your props should be full forward if you have a separate control for the propeller. Use the throttle to maintain descent rate. Use your yoke or your elevator to manage airspeed. Maintain a stable landing profile. If you're not stable by 500 feet above the ground, do a go around. Once you've touched down, use rudders to keep the plane on the runway. Set your throttle to max. Flaps full up. Adjust your trim and take off again. Wash, rinse, repeat. Now a few quote-unquote final items. Get it? You don't want to go too fast. You don't want to go too high. If you've done either, you can fix yourself on the downwind. You need to compensate for the wind. I mean, if the wind is blowing around, you're gonna get blown around. Do what you need to do to make sure that the HSI and the course needle are lined up. Your speed should be about 20 to 30 knots above stall while you're flying in the pattern. You don't want to be going too fast while you're in the pattern. Your HSI builds up errors after a while, and there's a knob that allows you to align it with the compass. You have a compass which is separate. Make sure the HSI is in sync with the compass. Always look out for conflicting traffic when you're flying in the pattern, especially when you're making the turn on base to final. And if you have a retractable gear, always keep your gear down while doing touch and goes. Why? Because you might forget and land with the gear up. That happened to a Mooney Bravo about 1.5 years ago at the airport nearby. And the gear down is a natural and effective speed brake. It will keep your speed in check. Now that's a quick run through of flying in the pattern. Now let's go back to the cockpit. Alright, so we're back. Hope you found that information useful. Usually when I do my touch and goes, everything is smooth. Now that I'm being quote unquote watched, I'll probably screw everything up. But, you know, so it go. I'm going to go ahead and lean my engine a little bit, get an extra power since I have full fuel tanks. I'm not going to go ahead and do the whole EGT temperature measuring crap. I'm just going to go ahead and just lean it a little bit. That should work. Let's see here now. I should have turned on our taxi lights. And I'll go ahead and turn the landing lights on. Since we're going to be flying in the pattern, those lights need to be left on. And that nav light needs to be on. And turn on the strobes. Okay. Taxiing a little bit fast. Alright, let's check. Make sure our flaps are up. And they are. Gear lights are working. We're approaching runway 4. And as I said in the briefing, I'm going to have to turn my heading on my course to runway 4. Now it's actually going to be a little bit off. The runway heading and the actual heading you fly is going to be off by 1 or 2 degrees. And on the approach plate it will tell you that. But for the most part, all you need to do is set your course needle and your heading needle to the runway heading. And in this case it's runway 4. Add a 0 to runway 4 and you have 040, which is 40. So let's go ahead and do this. 40. Here is 3. That little small notch here, that's 5 increments. That's 35. That's 4 for 40. And we'll go ahead and turn the course needle right there. It didn't say whether to fly left or right base. Let's see. I'll go ahead and fly left base, and what that means is when I'm flying in the pattern, I'm going to be turning left. So let's go ahead and call the tower and request
Tower, Piper, November,
touch and go.
84-9er, ready at runway 4, touch and go. Piper, November, 84-9er, prepared for takeoff, runway 4, touch and go, approved.
Okay, so the ATC here said
Cleared for takeoff, runway 4, Piper, 9er,
left traffic. So that means when I take off, I'm going to be coming left to fly in the pattern. Now, let's go ahead and get into position. So the thing I don't like about full fuel tanks is it takes quite a bit of my throttle is at 50% just to get it rolling, and it's gonna make things a little bit tricky. Alright, it's been a couple days since I've flown this aircraft, so let's do a little bit of revision. Set the parking brake. Alright, this is my vertical speed. My altimeter, I need to be between 23 and 2800 ish. Here's my airspeed. I want to maintain flight within the white arc, which is this. Here's my landing gear, gear lights. My flaps is right here, and rudder stick, and that's it. I'm good. Alright, so let's go ahead and do left pattern, 1 touch and go. Alright, slowly give it gas. Full throttle. Now in this bird I rotate at about 80 to 90 ish. Go down the line here, right about here, rotate. I don't know what my trim is because it doesn't have markings on there. Trying to maintain runway heading, because remember, this is your runway right here. Take it up to about 400 feet AGL. Let's go ahead and pitch up a little bit. There we go. My climb rate is not as high as I want it to be because I'm heavy. Alright, I'm 400 feet up. I'm going to come left. And all I need is for this to hit right here. My course needle to hit this. And that will be my crosswind. Alright. I need to give it more back elevated just to keep it up in the air. Don't want to overshoot. So straighten up right here. Let's come back a little bit. Now, when you fly in patterns over and over and over again, you get markers. You'll notify. You'll notice waypoints of sorts. And in this case, whenever I fly left base, coming north at Bolton, this other airport is right here. So I know that I'm on course. Actually, I'm a little bit off. See? But I know at about right here, I can make another left turn to my downwind. And I'm going way too fast. Come off the gas. Because I need to be in the wide arc. Alright, we're about 10 degrees out. Straighten up. Alright, now I'm a little bit fast. There is Bolton Field right there. I'm parallel to it. I'm a little bit fast, so I'm going to hold the nose high to bleed off some airspeed. Come off the gas a little bit. Okay, I'm approaching 2,000 feet, which is fine. I need to make corrections to make sure that my runway is lined up. Let's turn this down. Okay, I'm in the arc. Give it a little bit of gas.
Viper 9er, 6-9er, cleared, touch and go, left traffic, runway 4.
Okay, I'm mid downwind.
Touch and go, runway
Often
4.
ATC will say call when you're mid downwind, and they will give you your touch and go clearance. Nope, getting off course. But I'm in the zone with regards to my altitude. I'm at about 2,200 feet. My gear is down. That's the reason I'm having crappy performance. I don't want to keep the gear down because of what I said. So go ahead and straighten up here. I want to keep my runway straight. And at this point, I'm going to start looking over my shoulder. See? Now the runway is not exactly over my shoulder. Once the runway is right about here, I can make my turn. Alright, so I'm in good shape right now. See? Lined up right at the edge. We'll fix that. I'm climbing a little bit. Come off the gas some. Alright. Let's take a look. Alright. Alright, runway's over the shoulder. Actually, it's past. Now we can make our turn to base. Pitch the nose up. Come off the gas. Make sure we're straight. We are in the white arc. Give it 1 notch flaps. We got a little bit of balloon there. Got to watch the altitude. I'm at 2,500 feet. So now I'm going to come left. Another 90 degrees. So that this is right here. Okay, watching my descent rate. I want to keep it at around 500 feet per minute. Okay, keeping an eye on the needle. Right there. Straighten out right about here. Watching my descent rate. Now I look out the side. There's a runway. I'm a little bit far. A little bit farther than I'd like. My girlfriend was banging on the door telling me that snacks are ready. So a little bit of interference there. Alright. That's about past 10 o'clock actually. So I might overshoot. Give it left rudder. Coordinated turn. and I forgot to give my second notch of flaps, but that's okay. Why? Because I'm way out. I have plenty of time to slow down with my second notch. And now I've overshot the runway just a little bit, but now I'm lined up with the runway again. So here I can go ahead and compensate. So pull up a little bit, second notch of flaps. Okay, that gave me a little bit of a balloon, so now I'm going to bleed off some speed. A turn. This has one more notch of flaps. Some planes, like the Mooney Bravo, only has 2 notches. Up, approach, and down. This one has another notch. Since I'm doing a touch and go, I'm not coming to a full stop, so I'm not going to use full flaps. I'm just going to leave it the way it is. Right now, you want to do your checklist. Mixture, full forward. Yeah, give it full forward. Props, right here, full forward. And gas, no full flaps, but my flaps are set. And gump, that's gas on the carriage. Gear is down. Mixture is full. Props are good. I am clear to land. Alright, so I know that the ground is 900 feet above sea level. I said 800 in the briefing. It's 900. So right now I'm about 600 feet up. I got PAPI lights. That helps me come in. Just go ahead and fly the PAPI lights. Now I'm a little bit heavy because of the extra fuel, so I need to keep my speed up. I think that Rex messed with the trees, or it's fall. I think it's because it's fall. Okay, I'm in the zone, and Rex did screw with the lights. They look a little bit different. Yeah, they look way different. I'm over my middle marker beacon. I'm in the zone. Alright, I want to touch down at about 90-ish. I'm below the ILS, or below the glide path. Nose up a little bit. That'll bleed off some speed. Get me back in the path. This is a relatively long runway, so I can afford to do this. And this plane floats. So we gotta be careful. Float too much. There we go. Alright. Throttle's full. Flaps up. And rotate. Now that wasn't a perfect touch and go. Obviously I made some errors, but that's the whole point. Touch and goes is how you want to practice. Now I'm going to go to OSU Airport and gear up. I can climb out at a faster speed because my undercarriage is up. Before it was down, that's the reason why my climb rate was so slow. Alright, OSU Airport is over here somewhere. And I'll go ahead and call them. And they're going to go ahead and tell me what runway that I'm cleared to do a touch and go on. And then I will use this to get myself ready. Alright, let's see here. Cancel landing intention. Okay, nearest airport list. OSU Airport 6. Tune the tower. Just come off the gas a little bit. Let's go touch and go.
Ohio State Tower, Cyber November 84969er, Niner flow, south with whiskey, touch and go. Cyber November 84969er, Ohio State Tower, flight right base, runway Niner right, altimeter 2, Niner 7.
Alright, fly right base runway 9R. Alright.
Right base, runway Niner.
So, I need to move this to 9. Remember, runway 9, that's 90. That's E, that's east. Alright, and it's right base. Okay? Alright, first let's make sure I know where the damn airport is. Okay, this is Columbus, Port Columbus. And in the real world, I wouldn't be doing this because this is a landing path for all the jets coming into Port Columbus. But here's OSU Airport right here. Okay? And I'm coming in on runway 9, so by looking at my HSI, I have an idea as to what that is, and it's right base. So what I want to do is, and it's 9R, so there's 2 runways that are 9. All I need to do is come on the right one. There's going to be left and right. So I want to make sure I'm in the pattern altitude by the time I get there. I'm at 2700 right now, which is good. And clear touch and go, runway 9R. Okay. So all I need to do at this point, when I enter the pattern, I'm coming in on base. All I got to do is this. Now, I'm a little bit high. So what I want to do, come off the gas. It's beeping at me because my gear isn't down. I should put my gear down. Why? Because I'm awfully fast and I want to slow down. So right now I'm perpendicular to runway 9, which is I'm coming into base. Alright, pitch up to bleed off some speed. Kind of close, that's no problem. Okay, what are you complaining about? The gear is down. Okay, took a while for that third one to come down. Alright. Pitch up a little bit. Flaps 1. You don't want to go put any flaps until you're out of that arc and you're in the safe zone. Alright. Runway 9. There it is right there. Okay. What's my altitude? Coming down at 2000. Let's get back on track. There's runway 9 right there. Maintain a descent rate of about 500 feet per minute. I'm at approach speed. Gump. I got gas. Props forward. Mixture forward on the carriage. Gear is down. That's me. Alright, so I'm on base. I'm coming in. One more notch of flaps. And I'm going to leave it at that because I'm doing a touch and go. There's my runway right there. Actually, this is so embarrassing. That's not my runway. This is my runway. Let's do that again. Alright. Okay, so I screwed that up. That wasn't runway 9. This was runway 9, but I was able to recover. Didn't have to do a go around. Why is it complaining? Not sure why it's complaining. Gear warning. Okay, gear up. Flaps up.
Tower, November 84, 906, 9
Alright, left, downwind, runway 4.
Flight left, downwind, runway 4. Piper, niner, 6,
Alright.
niner.
Coming down fast. Okay, I don't know where these clouds came from. I want to use my altitude to manage my airspeed, but by pitching up, I'm going into the clouds. Alright. This is Bolton. I think. Yes, it is. Looking out. Yep, there's the tower. Here are the hangars. And he said right. Let's look at the log. Fly left downwind. Runway 4. Alright, so that means we're going to be making left turns. I already have this set up for 4. So, I'm going to enter the pattern on the downwind. So all I have to do is come right a little bit, get a little bit of gas. And that should be fine. And we'll just head for the middle, which should be right about here. Always scan the horizon. There's an airport close by. This is Columbus Southwest Airport. Could be traffic taking off. Landing there. There's Bolton. We want to be at the pattern altitude, which is we're a little bit high. Let's come off the gas. And we're a little bit fast. We want to be in the white arc. So let's come off the gas. This thing complains if the throttle comes back too far. Let's take it down to about 2200. Oh, we need to be flying downwind. I'm a little bit off course here. And this is going to help me get back on course. Alright. There we go. Pull up the nose. And there we are. Straight. Raise the nose. Okay, give it. Actually, we're not even near where I need to give it flaps. Now I'm kind of close. So when it's time to make my turn, my base, I'll just be making one straight U-turn. Because I'm actually pretty close. So if I want to give myself some more, I can come left. I'm sorry, come right. Time it for a little bit. And here's my runway. Is that enough? I need to probably go out a little bit more. Alright. Come left. Get back on course. A little bit high. There we go.
Piper, niner, 6, niner, cleared to land, runway 4.
We're mid downwind. That's when we get our landing clearance.
Cleared to land, runway 4. Piper, niner, 6, niner.
You want to wait until you're about to make a turn before you give it flaps 1. Just keep making corrections to make sure your runway is lined up. There we go. Cover my shoulder. Alright, that's over my shoulder. Come off the gas. Pull up the nose. Bleed off speed. We're in the white arc. Flaps 1. Gear down. Stop making 90-degree turn to the left. Want to make sure this is lined up with this. Watch your altitude. Maintain 500 feet per minute. Okay. Level off. Give it some gas. Check to see where you are. We're in a good position right there. Alright, we are at about 10 o'clock. Let's go ahead and make our next left turn. Maintain a shallow 500 feet per minute. 1530-degree bank angle. Okay. It's about to undershoot. That's fine. We're in a good position to correct. We're a little bit low. Keep the nose up. Second notch of flaps. Alright, since I'm since I'm coming in for a full stop landing, I will use full flaps. So let's establish ourselves on the approach. We're looking good. Come off the gas. Pull the nose up. Bleed off some more speed. Full flaps. Let the nose come down very, very gently. And right now I'm at full flaps, so I want to keep my speed right around here. It's very close to the stall speed. Okay, I'm low. A little bit of rudder, a little bit of gas. There we go. There we go. And I can make this turn. There we go.
Piper 969er, turn next taxiway. 6 India, 6 automated weather observation.
Oh, for the love of God.
0, 1.
Flaps up when taxi.
Piper 969er, contact ground on 121.8. 121.8 for Piper 969er.
Oh, for the love of God. Jesus Christ, why is it so hard to taxi in FSX? Alright, let's go ahead and do a park job. And it's not supposed to be beeping like this, so I'm going to see if I can find out what the problem is. Alright, let's go ahead and stop right here. Emergency brakes. Okay, parking brake. I don't know why it keeps beeping. It doesn't say. But anyway, that's not important. What's important is we did a little bit of touch and goes. Even more important, got my traffic back. And made a couple mistakes, but overall it was a decent demonstration. Alright, so let's go ahead and turn off some stuff here. Let's bring this back. Let's go ahead and turn off these lights. That's off, 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 off. There we go. And that's it. Well, hope you enjoy this demonstration. Flightsimguy here. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time.